will go into the module number 2. Module number 2 is starts with air pollution. So we talk about the air pollution today. Well, pollution, we are talking about the air pollution. First of all, we have to understand the composition of the air. What is the composition of air? All of you know, of course, but still, we need to know the composition of air. So, what is it? It is basically nitrogen, that is N2, is 78.09%, and oxygen, O2, is 20.94%. This is by volume. Other constituents are largely carbon dioxide, CO2, argon, rare. Yeah. Is that all right? Right. Argon. Then these are the rare gases: neon, krypton, helium gas, methane. These are the other gases. The volumetric ratio is probably, you can Google it, you can find out. It is not required to know all these things. So mainly nitrogen and oxygen, we are now, when we talk about the environment, we talk about the total set. Just because oxygen is, because without oxygen we cannot live, and we are interested only our living, that is not the thing. Actually, we have to take our focus into holistic approach. Right now, you have basically atmosphere. Actually, is basically a column of air that surrounds the Earth. The region of the atmosphere is extending up to 16 kilometers. Is known as troposphere. Atmospheric height up to 16 kilometer is called troposphere. And atmospheric height from 16 kilometer to 49 kilometer, 16 km to 49 km, is called stratosphere. So what is happening is that, as now, whatever we have said about the nitrogen volumetric percentage and all, these are all the average values. The logical, all of you are aware that if there is a density difference, then naturally the proportion will change. And suppose at the bottom of the sea, the composition of the sea water will vary. Similarly, the composition of air also will vary depending on the height of the atmosphere. Okay. Now, apart from, so what is the problem? Problem is that air pollution is caused due to the presence of, we are talking of air pollution. This is the composition, and this is the focus area of the atmosphere, troposphere and stratosphere. Now, general impurities, general impurities are general impurities in air are organic impurities which contains methane, benzene, formaldehyde, chlorinated hydrocarbons, chlorinated hydrocarbons. We, regarding this, we have talked about CFCs. If you remember, chlorofluorocarbon. This is mainly used in air conditioning industries. Used in air conditioning industries. By the way, India has committed that by 2026, it will get rid of its CFC use by working out alternatives. So used in air conditioning. These are the organic impurities. Now, inorganics, inorganic impurities, they contain NOx, SOx, COX, then H2S, HF, NH3, chlorine, etc. NOx means it may be NOx. X is, it can be 1, 2, 3 like that. That means NO, NO2, NO3 like that. Similarly, SOx, X can have SO2, SO3, etc. Apart from these two organic and inorganic impurities, we have certain matters which are particle in nature, or we can say particulate matters. Particulate matter. What are these particulate matter? Dust, smoke, fumes, droplets. Where do they generate? Dust. Dust is generated. I mean, lots of mining industries. Then you're even during the this what do you call, uh, even in general also there is dust particles are being generated which goes into the air. Smoke, of course, smoke gets into the air. The main source of smoke is basically the thermal power plants. The fumes are coming, I mean, for everyday life. As I told you, I mean, in the very first class, as I told you that in thermodynamics we call one particular thing that the entropy of the universe increases, and entropy means degree of chaos. The degree of chaos as human beings live, they are the source of all the miseries that is happening into this world. So what do? We go back to the jungle rule? No, not jungle rule. Well, people think that jungle doesn't have many rules. Actually, if you see deeply, jungle has got um, very natural rules which actually balances itself. If something is populated extremely high, they will extinct. They will get extinct. This is the rule. So jungles have survived millions of years. So those people who think that there is no rule in the jungle, there is absolutely fine rules in the jungle. Only thing is that we human beings, we have created our cozy atmosphere within these cubicles, the flats, our own homes, things like that, and we feel threatened unless it is up to our liking. Anyway, those are the few things um, to ponder over. So these are the general impurities of uh, organic impurities, inorganic impurities, and other particulate matter, which actually constitute the pollutants. Now, what is called primary pollutants? Primary pollutants. Primary pollutants are SO2, H2S, NOx, carbon monoxide, then HF, and NH3. Secondary pollutants. Secondary pollutants. Secondary pollutants are O3, ozone, PAN. What is PAN? Peroxyacyl nitrate. Then aldehydes, then various oxidants. These are all the secondary pollutants. Now, in order to take any action, first of all, we have to know the composition and their risk assessment as to which one is more risky. Once again, we are talking of risk factor. We have to talk about the risk factor not only to the human beings, also about the environmental entities, different environmental entities, including all other animals and species, the inanimate and the animate objects also. So, we what we have to do, first of all, we have to know how much percentage of these pollutants are present right at this moment. Carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide 45%, oxides of sulfur 13%, particulate matter 15%, oxides of nitrogen 10%, HCs, that is hydrocarbons 12%, others, that is which contains H2S, HF, HCl, NH3, lead, SI, etc., they form about 5%. So if you take this in a pie chart, it will be like this: carbon monoxide 45%, 50% इधर होता तो 45, let us say this is CO2 45%. Particulate matter 15%, oxides of nitrogen. Remember, these oxides of nitrogens are the source of acid rain, what we have discussed in the last class. 10%, hydrocarbon 12%, oxides of sulfur, also potential source of sulfuric acid getting formed and coming in the form of acid rain, 13%, and others are 5%. Now, see, there are certain things which you cannot control. There are certain things you can control. There are certain things you cannot control. Human activities, you can, if you are willing, you are. If you bring down your aspirations to a judicious level of uh, decency, then you may control to certain extent. But there are certain natural phenomena you do not have any control about. Let us say, for example, the volcanic eruptions. Let us say forest fire, storms, soil erosion. So all these things we do not have much of a control, right? So, for example, oxidation of methane from decaying vegetation results in the formation of CO, right? CO is also is being contributed by thermal power plants. How? The incomplete always remember that when there is an incomplete combustion, the carbon monoxide is formed. In the thermal power plants, what is happening is that when we are talking of coal-based thermal power plant, when the pulverized coal is actually injected into the boiler, what is happening is that the amount of air that you are supposed to supply for the quick release of the calorific value of that coal, so that the heat is transferred to the water, is it has to be, first of all, it has to be stoichiometric ratio के हिसाब से होना चाहिए. But even if you supply a little bit of extra air by forced draft or things like that, that you blow air in order to ensure complete combustion, the combustion being a very complex phenomena, it may not be possible to completely complete burning condition may not be available. Therefore, the thermal power plants will have carbon monoxide emissions. Then oxidations of decaying substances. Decaying substances gives rise to the formation of methane. Volcanic eruptions volcanic eruptions throws particulate matter into air. Forest fire contributes fumes into atmosphere. Now, use of fertilizers, insecticides in harvesting of the agricultural system may also residual. It also, for example, now if you use of excess inorganic fertilizers lead to the formation of uh, arsenic, lead, and fluorides in the topsoil. These are the natural phenomena which natural sources of contaminants. Now, combustion process. Combustion process, as we have discussed, combustion of coal combustion of coal or oil in thermal plants, thermal power plants, industries, automobiles, also produce CO, particulate matter, HC, lead, NOx, etc. Number 2, domestic uses also. Domestic consumption of coal and other fuels also contribute to the formation of pollutants. Pollutants. Page number 3 plus. Make 4130. Number 3, out of the industries, there are the different types of process plants also contribute heavily to the pollutants. For example, if you have got a cement plant, if you have got a fertilizer plant, paper mill, iron and steel industries, they also contribute heavily to the formation of different kinds of pollutants. The industrial process industries. Process industries means there are 3 types of actually in the production, in the mechanical engineering, the production when it happens, it can happen in 3 ways. For example, every product is a different product. Customer is coming out with his requirement, which is absolutely unique in his this thing. So that is called a jobbing production, jobbing industry. That means each order is executed as per the client's requirement. For example, suppose a company wants to set up a what do you mean, the petrochemical industries. Now the petrochemical industry is it consists of thousands of acres of land, and the different kinds of, because it has the crude petroleum is being processed, therefore the different kinds of distillation chambers are actually placed at various sites, and there is a huge power requirement. This power requirement has to be done logistically in such a manner that you have to identify which one is your primary concern and which one is of secondary concern. Primary concern in the sense that when the process is going on from one phase to another, the chemical is actually transforming from one phase to another, then one phase to another, like that. Finally, it is coming out. The final product. Actually, if you see the process chemical industries, you will find that the fractional distillation takes place at every stage, and every stage you are getting a product. For example, in petrochemical industries, you will have, when you do the finest fractional distillation, you get the aircraft fuel, that is gasoline. Then you do the further fractional distillation, you get petrol, then diesel, then kerosene, then heavy oil. After that, you get tar, which is used in the road construction and all. So therefore, these are the process chemical industries. These industries also contribute process. So this is called process industries, and another production method is called the batch production. Usually the batch production is basically, suppose for example, the automobile is being manufactured. Production actually 3 types hota hai. 3 types. One is jobbing, another is process, another is batch. Process is the chemical industries. Even the thermal power plant also can be talked of as a process industries, because there what is happening is that the water actually is being used as the working fluid, and this working fluid transforms its phase at various places. For example, boiler, turbine, condenser, pump. These are the four components of a simple thermal power plant. Now, in that case, in the boiler, the water is being taken to the steam level. The steam is further heated, becomes superheated steam, and then the superheated steam is being high pressure, high temperature superheated steam is being directed on to the blade of the turbine, so that the turbine blade rotates and you get ample mechanical power. The moment you get ample mechanical power, you can couple with a generator and you can produce electricity. Then this electricity is being transported from the thermal power station through the high tension lines and all, once again download into the customized format like 440 volt, and then you distribute according to household or the industries. Such a complex phenomena. So that thermal power industry is also a process industries. In that process industries, the steam, after it is giving a after it loses its power onto the blade of the turbine, the exhaust steam is now cooled to the in the condenser to the liquid format yet again, and this liquid is stored in a hot well, and from the hot well once again through the pump it is being injected into the boiler yet again, so that this cyclic process continues. Whenever this cyclic process, thermodynamic process continuation happens, this is also a kind of a process industries. There is a and also in the process industries, you will have a detailed planning. Suppose you cannot have if you have to have a maintenance of the process industries, you have to have a proper shutdown. It has to be notified much earlier, so that every department is aware of it is, and for every stage you have to not proclaim, you have to reclaim the finished and the semi-finished products. Anyway, so these are the process industries. So the process industries contribute, they also contribute particulates and pollutants. So, what are the examples of the examples? Cement industries, fertilizer industries, iron and steel, coal-based thermal power plant, etc. Right? Petrochemicals, and refineries. What are the other sources of pollution? One, two, three. Combustion process. These are the natural sources. Combustion process. And the other source of pollution may be the abrasion and the grinding operations that is happening in the industries. They also release the dust and particulate matter into the industries. So, what are the characteristics of the air pollutants? The particulates, they are minute and discrete particles, and they are capable of settling in gaseous medium. I mean, they can float in the gaseous medium. Depending on the size and distribution, the mass concentration and the chemical composition, the level of toxicity and the mechanism how you will remove this particulate matter can be decided. Dust, usually the particle size of the dust, what we will discuss now is that the characteristics of air pollutants. Characteristics of air pollutants. First of all, they are minute and discrete particles. The meeting will get over soon, so I'll just quickly read out. The thing is that they are minute and discrete particles. They float in gaseous medium. Size of pollutant particles (1 to 200 micron). 1 micron means 10 to the power minus 6 meter. I think let us formally end the class here itself. We meet once again on Monday, your designated class. I would like to take few extra classes also, which I will declare on Monday itself. Since the class is, I have only 1 minute, so I think let us end the class here itself. We meet on Monday. Thank you very much for attending.